There's only one acceptable answer for your best moment as a St. Louis Blues fan, and if it's not this, then you really need to ask yourself, are you truly a fan of the St. Louis Blues?
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host, Haley Taylor Simon, here a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for all of those that are joining me today. I am in the studio today. As you know, Fridays are my studio busy day, as I call it, where I am in the studio for 15 hours. I know it is insane. So I always do my Friday episodes from inside the studio, which is why I don't see all my blue stuff in the background, which I do apologize about. One thing that I want to touch on today's episode is, what is the best moment that you had as a St. Louis Blues fan? Also, we're going to move the Are We Feeling Blues segment to the second segment of today instead of the last, because again, we have Blues History Minute on this day, and this is one of my favorite new segments for the summertime. And I know that you have been enjoying it, and I have been enjoying it. And really fast, before we dig into your favorite moments, I want to talk about my favorite moment. I don't think that there is a more glorious moment than the final minute of that Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2019. Not this season, because there wasn't a Game 7, so obviously not. It's when the Blues were in the Cup. But going back, it's funny. You truly feel like that minute is one of the longest minutes. And granted, of course it was. It's all the adrenaline and the anticipation of, oh my gosh, we're going to win the Stanley Cup. This is only minutes away. It's only seconds away. And then boom. I personally have to say, as a Blues fan, that was one of the coolest experiences I ever had. I told you, I think in one of my first episodes, it was near June 12th, which was the anniversary. I was sitting on my couch and I just couldn't move. I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And man, it just makes me, I don't get emotional usually. There's only a few things in life that gets me emotional. This is one of them. It truly is one of those moments where, as a fan, and seeing your team hoist the cup and seeing the years of trying to get there finally pay off, it is one of the best feelings in the planet. And one thing I think that I've been feeling lately has been the disappointment of the team, and especially this past season. And sometimes it's hard and you want to reminisce on some of the positives that your team has experienced. I can't say that I was around for some of the best players since I was born in 1999. So obviously I didn't get to experience some of the things that other people might have or remembered it currently. But I can look back and watch videos of Pronger and Kachuk and remember it in the sense of remembering it through the videos. But I know that my following here on Locked On Blues, it ranges. And it's interesting to hear different people's perspectives on moments that stood out to them throughout the seasons, and mainly just what was most impactful to you. For me, of course, it is that Game 7 that felt like a Cinderella story. And it's funny, somebody from ESPN put out the other day, what team has the most Cinderella story? And I can't help but think the St. Louis Blues in that Stanley Cup Finals. Nobody expected the Blues to win. Nobody expected the Blues to even get there. So it was one of those things where you have a team in the Boston Bruins who everybody always expects to win, a team that people just associate with winning, going against a team that has yet to win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. And I think the whole nation was rooting for St. Louis, to tell you the truth. I don't think that there was a single city out there besides Boston, obviously, rooting for the Bruins. And having that support and just having the whole hockey community rally around us here in St. Louis was quite an interesting thing because this was a lot of attention in a positive way. And it just kind of gave me a taste of this is what it's like to be a winning team. I get upset though, because that moment, that game, while it is, I don't want that to be the only best moment I experience. I want there to be other best moments. I want there to be other Stanley Cups. And not this season, obviously, but maybe in the future, maybe in 5 years. I don't know. As I said, the Blues have some great talent. I am hoping that they can be cup contenders again. They will in the future, in the soon future, I do believe, since they drafted such phenomenal talent. But that takes time, and that's developmental time that you can't rush. You can't rush development. But for me personally, I think another thing that gets me choked up is hearing the song Gloria. And I talked about the history of Gloria, and it's one of those things where when I hear it, when it comes on my shuffle, I get teary because that was it just everything about it was beautiful. And obviously, that to me is a moment that in 2019, I was 20 years old then. So I was obviously older. I was able to remember it. And it's one of those things that I will always cherish. But as I stated, I was more curious about what you thought because this was all about you week, where I asked questions about you and your opinions. And that way I could try to get to know you a little bit better. So, Zach said, being at BPV for Game 6 win over the Sharks to go to the finals. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great memory, Zach. Psalm said, last seconds of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final when we took home the trophy. I will never, ever forget that moment for as long as I live. I completely feel you on that. We had the same exact one. I love that. Sieb said, can't imagine many other answers besides that night we won the cup or the parade. The parade's a good one, but the reason why I say the cup, it's kind of like that moment of this finally happened. And while the parade was phenomenal, right? The cup win itself, I feel like, is just a moment within its own. Sean said the last minute of the cup. Mark said the cup, and then he has Petrangelo hoisting the cup. And it all goes back to that Stanley Cup. And last night, the reason why I thought of this topic, I was bored last night, to be honest. And I was like, okay, Hale, what are you going to do? So I decided to rewatch Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals from obviously 2018, 2019. And I said, just to feel something again. So a couple people were asking, Hale, where can you watch this? What I do is I watch different clips on YouTube. I listen to the radio broadcast, and it's really, I think there's the one clip I watch, it's like the final 5 minutes, and it gets me every time. So for those that want to kind of relive the moment, I recommend if you want a free option besides listening to me here on Locked On Blues and going back to the episode where I talked about the cup on June 12th, you can also, it was June 12th, right? I'm not getting this mixed up. I'm 99% sure. Now I'm like second guessing myself because it was June 12th. I was right. I don't know why I was like, huh, but are you sure it wasn't June 11th? I don't know why, but I was like, it's definitely June 12th. I was right per usual. I was like second guessing. I was like, wait, I'm just so tired too. That doesn't help. But I recommend listening to that episode that I did on We Went Blues Day because I describe every single thing about that game. Or if you want to watch the game or listen to the game yourself, YouTube always has such great options for free. I did have it on the like on the recording thing, the DVR or whatever it's called. And then I ended up switching to streaming, so that went away. I was like, bye, cable. So that's gone. But I just want to reiterate that you can have other moments besides the cup win, as I mentioned. And I think the reason why so many of you, so why I feel this way is because this was the most recent, in a sense, in the history of St. Louis. Um, it wasn't that long ago. So for this to be people's top moments right now, I mean, obviously it makes sense. You won it. And that's what this whole entire game is all about, is being the best team to win the Stanley Cup. So I just wanted to kind of go over that and explain that it's okay to reminisce. It's okay to kind of go back in the past and take yourself back to moments that make you happy as a fan. Because for me, it is super important to remind myself of the happiest moments I've experienced. Because if you take the negative and the positive, yes, there's always going to be more negative than positive in sports. That's with any sports, and especially with how the team is doing this past season, there is more negative than positive. But you got to outweigh that. And that's why right now, St. Louis fans, you need to ground yourself and just remember that recently the dream came true. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this, as I was like almost tearing up. So I was like, oh man, I'm not going to cry here in Locked On Blues today. It brings me back to the fields, and then watching it last night, I was like, okay, Hale, okay, for the podcast, no, but also it's one of my favorite things, and I've rewatched it all the time. So I'm sure I'll be coming on here in like a month from now. Hey, guess what I rewatched last night? Oh no, I'm gonna get emotional again. Oh my gosh, isn't it great? Isn't it great when sports make you emotional? Same. Take your first swing at betting on MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet 20 bucks and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's 200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to the over under to who you think will hit the first home run. It's all in the app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. So sign up today and visit fanduel.com/locked on to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's fanduel.com/locked on. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Cool. Are we feeling blue? Yes and no. Oh, what do you mean yes and no? I'll tell you why. I was going to go on today's episode and say, yes, I am feeling blue, just for the fact that uh not much has happened. Like I'm bored. It's the off season. Come on now. Um but the reason why I'm going to say that I am not feeling blue and I'm feeling happy. I'm using blue as like blue down, not because I love the Blues, obviously. Um, it is because I love interacting with you all and talking to you about my favorite thing. And the Blues winning the Stanley Cup happens to be my favorite thing. So I think talking about the cup win and just about the positive moments, it does make me feel quite happy. And I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel good, and I don't know. There's not a lot of words to describe how I'm feeling right now, right? But I'm at a place of peace where I'm not upset, I'm not overly happy. I'm just neutral, and I think that that's an important thing. With how I feel about the season and the anticipation, I could drive myself crazy. I just need something. I need more Otto Stenberg killing it at the juniors. I just need something to happen. And that made me feel good. And that made me feel super excited for the future of the St. Louis Blues. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of those things where I think once training camp begins and preseason, I don't even like preseason, but I will like it because it's hockey. So right now I'm kind of desperate. So it's fine. But I think once I get some form of new information, more hockey, I'm going to feel a lot better. I think that right now there has been nothing going on. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because if there's things going on, it could be really negative and it could make you question, okay, well, obviously I don't want this to be happening. But then at the same time, there's tons of positive things happening throughout the league. So I think it's a balance of I'm glad in a sense that nothing is happening, but I need something to hold on to. And a lot of the guys on the team, or not like stalking their social media, but like I was like, oh, I wonder what everyone's up to. They're all on vacation. So nothing. I was hoping for maybe some hockey videos, them on the ice, just give me something. Nope, they're all on vacation, which they 100% deserve to spend time with their families and marriages, obviously, with Benner. So there's definitely been a lot going on in these guys' life. I selfishly just wanted to see some hockey, anything. And hey, that's not going to be provided to me because they're on vacation. So I am feeling neutral this week. I'm glad I kind of did some reminiscing. I'm glad I've been doing some history. I'm glad that I've just been keeping myself occupied. And sometimes even looking back on the past gives you new perspectives. So, yes, you might be thinking, Hale, what are you doing? Are you wasting your time, getting super invested in things that have happened in the past? It is not a waste of time because you always learn something from the past. And that's true of anything in life. So, with that being said, I just want to reiterate it is okay to talk hypothetical. I have done that plenty. But it's also okay just to take a step back and say, you know what? Talking about what happened on this day in history is quite a nice thing. And yeah, there might not be a lot of this day in history stuff as of lately because there is not. But it also is one of those things where I will take what I can and before I get into this day in history, the Blues put in an interesting question on their Instagram. And they said, fill in the blank. Blank will be the Blues' MVP for the 2022-2024 season. Did I say 22? I meant 23. A lot of people are really mean. Somebody said Sammy Blake, Cairo, Jake Neighbors, Robert Thomas. A lot of Robert Thomas, the draft lottery pick. Doug Armstrong got the trade deadline. Oh man. We have a Braden Shen, Blay, your mom. I like come on now. That's a little childish. Benner. uh, oh man. And then Bush got a lot. Brett Hole. Like a lot of people are just like being like rude and they're just being like naming players from the past. The towel guy. Okay, so like clearly it looks like some fans are a little upset that the Blues didn't have the best season last year. But I feel like these answers are just so icky. Hmm. I don't really like that. But it is kind of funny. I like when people did some stuff. So this is not a day in history because again, a lot of stuff did not happen in August. But what I do is I do my research and I find things that have happened that I think are just a little bit of a fun thing. So did you know back in the day, the St. Louis Hockey Blues had a fashion show? So fun fashion and free Blues coffee mugs for the first 100 people attending. See Blues members and their families model spring fashions. Thursday, February 27th, 7:30, South Court. And I think, and if you're on YouTube, I'm going to show you the little graphic. And I think this is like super cool. This is another thing that it gets the community involved, and it just, I don't know, I find it fun. So um it's, obviously there's not a lot of stuff going on in the hockey world, as I said, but a fashion show like that's fun. So that is a little fun Blues Day in history. And then here's another one. I went with the whole theme of kind of giveaways and things like that. So I stuck with that theme today. Join our next generation St. Louis Blues hockey. Blues versus Vancouver Canucks this Saturday at 7:35. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Blues kit cap, compliments of the Missouri Lottery, and KMOX radio. Tickets are available at the box office, Famous Bar, all tickets now, and the St. Louis Arena. So if you want to see that graphic, I will show you on YouTube as well at Locked On Blues. It is so cool. I want the whole theme of like, let's go see. Did I pull anything else up? Because I did pull some things up, but let's go check. I think that's the two things that I could find. Next week I'll have some other clippings, but it's just like fun little things that are in newspapers. You have the old school black and white photos, and it's all like different giveaways, but it's funny because it feels like forever ago, but it's really not forever ago, if that makes sense. Like, it's just interesting, but I like the idea of a fashion show. And I like that it was raising money for charities. And I think that the Blues do such a good job with community outreach and helping out, obviously, the surrounding area of St. Louis and doing a great, phenomenal, fantastic job. How many good words and adjectives can I say about that? Boom. But at the end of the day, this organization is just super involved and super insightful. And it makes me really proud to be a fan of this team. So, with that being said, I will talk to you all very soon. Next week will be a busy, busy week. Every week's a busy week with me. Come on, who am I kidding? Working at a sports radio station beginning at 4 a.m. definitely does take a toll on me. But whenever I get to talk some St. Louis Blues hockey, I get instantly happy and it just makes my day. So I don't want anyone to ever think, oh my gosh, Haley looks so tired. Is she okay? I am always fine. I promise you, I am always fine. I'm just tired here and there, but that is life and that is the game of life. And as I said, I love being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I, I get to see all my great colleagues and all the work that they do, and I cannot wait to do different collabs and have different guests on and be able to be, more involved with the St. Louis podcasting community, which is crazy because I never thought I'd be doing a podcast. But with all that being said, I will talk to you. And as always, let me get a let's go Blues.